Okay, this is Toby from Heavyweight MMA, here today with former D1 wrestler and MMA wrestling coach, well known for coaching at Tiger Muay Thai in Thailand, and also coaching some of the big names in combat sports such as Adesanya, mostly from Australia and New Zealand, right? Adesanya, Alex Volkanovski, Tai Tuivasa, Tyson, Pedro, Brad Riddell, Justin Tuffer, etc. I'm also from down under, so it's good to meet someone who's a bit familiar with our type, man. Welcome to the show, Mr. Frank Hickman.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the introduction. I appreciate that. Are you an Aussie or a Kiwi?
Actually, the funny thing is nearly everyone thinks I'm a Kiwi, but I'm an Aussie. So, yeah, I think my accent's a bit skewed somehow.
I prefer the Kiwis, big fella.
I think I say bro too much, so I kind of fit in with the Kiwis. Had a good Maori mate a while back, and we hung out a lot, and I think I caught the bro, and so I'm broing everyone still to this day.
What part of Australia?
I'm from Sydney, man. You have any friends down in Sydney? Obviously, Tuivasa and that.
Penrith's my spot. I love the area, man. That's my favorite place in Australia.
Penrith, yeah, it's a different part of the world, man. Spend a bit of time out there.
Yeah, it's a good time. I enjoyed my time out there.
That's it, man. And also, I noticed you've obviously spent a lot of time with the Aussies and Kiwis because you've learned a bit of the language, man. I've heard a few of your interviews. It's quite funny to hear you. A few more things than some of your average people. I heard you correcting someone about Alex Volkanovski. They said, "Oh, he's from out that way too," and you went, "He's from the Gong, or he's from Wollongong, or something." Like you're correcting the location, and I heard you throwing a few C bombs out there here and there, man. So you're picking up the language.
The C bombs roll off my tongue, unfortunately, a bit too much than I would like, especially in the state. You got to kind of pump the brakes a bit when you speak. But yeah, Volk's from the Gong, which is one of I call it the armpit of Australia. But that's neither here nor there.
It's another beautiful part of the world, though, when you consider the coastline, right? It's beautiful.
It's not bad. It's like I said, it's no the area, but it'll do.
Yeah. Hey, on Volk, I was talking to one of his friends, Colby Thickness. You know Colby, right?
Golden boy.
That's the one. And he said to ask about Volko and the inside trip. Anything about that one? Some sort of story?
Man, well, obviously I've helped Volk over the years with wrestling, and he hit up when he fought Holloway the second time. He inside tripped him. I think it was twice actually. And so now Volk likes when we're out or something like that, and the conversation comes up of like, "Oh, who are you with?" He's like, "Oh, this is Joe, this is Colby, blah blah. This is my wrestling coach Frank." And then he's like, then they'll start chatting, and then he loves to say that I taught him everything he knows about wrestling except for the inside trip that he actually hit Holloway with. So he likes to take the piss out of me a bit when it comes to that, and I've heard him say it numerous times around, and people obviously, because it's coming from Alex, they love it and they just get really into it. But now I'm starting to piss me off a bit, isn't it? Nah. But
fair enough, man. So give us an update of what's happening in the world of Frank Hickman, man. I know that I heard you're at Syndicate MMA right now. Is that right?
Yes, sir. I'm currently in Las Vegas helping out at Syndicate MMA. Head coach is John Wood. Great guy. Mike Piles helps out there as well. Frank Mir is there as well. So it's a good group of guys. I've really enjoyed my time. They've welcomed me with open arms. Help a bit with the pro class. You know, they spar Tuesday, Thursdays, and other days of the week's a bit of technique. And then Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and 7:30 in the evenings, I teach. I teach wrestling. So I teach and coach wrestling to whoever. It's just a mix of people. There's some fighters. There's some local high school kids. There's a pretty good senior level team that's in Las Vegas. So there's some like 50-year-old guys that come in and still mix it up. You know, I hope I'm able to do that when I'm their age. And it's nice, you know, I'm there, I'm helping individuals who have fights coming up, who are in camp. I'm able to use the PI. I have access to the UFC PI, which is very nice. You know, I can go there and use their, state-of-the-art facilities. And then I get over 2 days a week at least to help to do the wrestling class at 10th Planet Las Vegas. Casey runs that. Another guy who's phenomenal, has been very welcoming with open arms. So I've been enjoying my time in Las Vegas. I've told people before I came over just to when Izzy fought in the beginning of April, and then Brad was 2 weeks after, and then Vault was the last week, and then that got scratched, unfortunately, in that whole COVID debacle. Then I went home, and I was going to fly back to Thailand, and then Vault got asked to be a coach in the Ultimate Fighter, so he asked me to come along. Of course, I jumped at the opportunity, was very appreciative of Vault bringing me on. Show went great. You know, they just finished up, so they have the finals. The finale is next weekend. We got Ricky and Brady fighting in the finals at 135, and then we got Brian Battle, another North Carolina boy. He's fighting in the finals against Trey Sean, but I heard something could change there. But show was great. And then I went back, and then, you know, I've been helping Jeon Kim. She fights, she's 125 from Korea. She fights September 4th. Her fight got pushed back to September 4th. And I was going to come back and help her. And while I was there, I'd spoken to John Wood, and he goes, hey, if you wouldn't mind helping me a bit with the pro class, or, you know, if I could, like, you know, use some of your knowledge for the wrestling, if that's all right with you. And, you know, I'm in a position now, a transition period with, you know, what my brother and I have going back in Thailand. We want to, you know, get that going. So I'm in a position to where I can kind of, I guess, extend my services to whoever, you know, wants to get involved with the wrestling part of things for the MMA and stay active, because I'm an active person. You know, I have no problem training all the time and, you know, wrestling several times a day. And honestly, you know, I was very fortunate because a lot of things have lined up for me and was able to fall in place. You know, I'm staying with my buddy Sasha. Sasha fights Saturday in the UFC. Yep. He's a welterweight.
That's Sasha Palatnikov, right?
Yes, sir. Palatnikov, former.
Yeah, I'm living in Macau, so Macau's very close to Hong Kong, and I know he was training in Hong Kong. He was training with a few people that are friends of mine. I never got to meet him, but I've got a few people at our Thai team. Yeah.
Yeah, so he was raised there in Hong Kong. He's fighting. Jenna Fabian fights tomorrow in the PFL semifinals against Kayla Harrison. And then the following weekend, my buddy Brendan Lofkin fights. He's in a 1 seed. He fights the Dagestani, a very talented Dagestani, in the semis as well, the PFL. And then we got Jeon Khalil at the end of September. You got Hooker. Volk defends his belt in Vegas. And hopefully my girl Casey gets on around November 7, I believe is the card. Hopefully she gets a fight around November 7. I'll be helping her, training with her, just doing some wrestling. And then Kai Kara France has got a big fight against Garbrandt December 10. You know, so I'm in a position now where I'm able to stay stateside, and I'm getting pretty comfortable with it. You know, I didn't really like Vegas at the beginning, but I'm starting to kind of come into my own, and I'm staying pretty active, staying pretty busy.
Yeah.
And for me, that's important. I really do love what I do. So as long as I'm able to teach and coach and help people out with camps and stuff, I'm happy. You know, I don't really need that much. I just need a place to stay, and then, you know, facility to train in for the most part. That's anywhere. So it's been good. It's been fun. Learned a lot, done some traveling, you know, built some relationships, and I can't complain at all, my man.
That's good, man. Hey, I heard you mention before that you were looking at doing some online techniques with your brother, doing regular social media type things, and also looking at doing a sort of formal website, etc. Are you looking at doing that? Are you looking at opening a gym? What's the sort of plan?
Well, obviously we want to get into the internet side of things when it comes to technique and stuff like that. We've been in a chat with a couple of different type of things, but my brother and I, we're kind of building not a database, I guess you could say, but we're building kind of a fundamental type thing as far as like wrestling for MMA. And of course, you know, some wall stuff, offense, defense, positional, top, bottom stuff, stuff that we just developed over the years, or really since we've learned since we were young up through wrestling, and what translates best into MMA. And it's, you know, it's no secret, you know, my brother and I, we broke away from Tiger. No hard feelings on our end. Blessed and very fortunate that we were able to work with him. But, sometimes I think it's best if you venture off and do your own thing. And I think the time was right, being the circumstances with everything going on. And we really want to get our gym like we had planned, and have some great coaches and continue what we're doing. And that's, MMA and the wrestling part of things, and just the overall martial arts and what it brings to Southeast Asia.
Yep.
I'm feel like I'm pretty young coaching this game. I got unbelievable mentors around me in this game, and I'm in a position and a point to where, their advice has guided me in the right direction. And, we've made that decision to branch out on our own and stuff like that. And we're going to run with it. And, yeah, it's an exciting time. My brother and I, it's easy when you work with your brother, we don't really argue. We get along great. We see eye to eye. We see the same thing. He has a tremendous passion for Thailand and MMA in Thailand, because they're predominantly in Muay Thai is their national sport. But, since he's not just George, but MMA has been growing in Thailand. It's no secret. But, the likes of Loma Lukbunmi and, knock on wood, she's 3-1 right now in the UFC, and she comes from Buriram, which is a very, very, poor part of Thailand, and she's doing tremendous, and she's changing lives, and she's giving back. And, she's kind of a symbol of hope, I guess you could say, right now for Thailand, because they are going through a hard time with the COVID. And, there's Top Noi, and there's several other people that are in the pipeline that, we do take serious, and we try to keep building on that. And, we just want to get, obviously younger generation coming through saying, you can always do Muay Thai, but there's also MMA and, the wrestling part of things, and just kind of open up a new door, a new venture, if you must, to the Thai people, and just kind of offer a service and build something special with your brother and with some of the boys that we have.
Yeah, it's quite cool for you guys like that. This whole sort of part of the world has a limited wrestling base. Like you include Australia, New Zealand, Southeast Asia, all these areas have a need for you now that MMA has got so much popularity, right? Pat Healy came out this way and was teaching in China years ago. I met him over in Macau as well. And then now it's guys like you over here pushing it on. Have you seen an increase and improvement across the board in the last few years?
I believe we have seen an improvement over the last few years, but, it didn't just start with me. There's been people that have been here before that have definitely put some time into it and stuff. But I think being able to be around the right group, the right team, the right set of individuals has been a tremendous help. Very fortunate to be a Tiger. Like I said, we left. Very fortunate to be able to work with Volkanovski and Uncle Joe Lopez at their gym Freestyle out in Windang. Very fortunate to be working with CKB in Auckland, New Zealand, and their group of guys. But yeah, I think it is getting better. It's something that's lacked in the past, but I think the more we do, it's like anything. The more wrestling you do, the better you're going to get at it. It's like jiu-jitsu. The more you do, the better you're going to get at it. It's like anything. Boxing's the same way, but it's just something that you just have to have in the sport. The sport is forever evolving, and wrestling is something you need to have. So, which is a benefit for me because, I'm able to kind of outsource and be able to spread the knowledge and stuff like that, which I really enjoy. And hopefully on this side of the world, Southeast Asia, Australia, New Zealand, it picks up because they already have phenomenal striking. So if you can add on the back of that with wrestling and stuff like that, it's good. New Zealand has Andre Paulette, the Romanian, who is the head wrestling coach at City Kickboxing. He's a great friend of mine. He's a phenomenal wrestler. He's done a great job on that side of the world and building that, and especially CKB and what he was able to do with that. Not only just with Israel, but Israel, Brad, Kai, Dan Hooker, Blood Diamond, Jenna Fabian. The list kind of goes on. Shane Young. It's taken some time, but as you can see now, people are starting to recognize, well, this gym isn't just good at striking, but this gym can also wrestle as well. So I've just been fortunate to be able to kind of ride this wave and be in I guess you could say like the blossoming of things that are coming forward. So like I said, I'm excited where I'm at and excited to see where things are going to go, and Australia, New Zealand, Southeast Asia, the wrestling and where it takes it.
Yeah, awesome. And I get the impression that Thailand is what you would say is your base, your home for now. Is that right? Where you want to get back to? Yeah. Yeah.
Thailand's my base. I mean, obviously Castle Hayne, North Carolina will always be my home, but I consider Thailand my home right now. Even though this stint in the States is supposed to be 4 weeks, which is turning into now 4 months. So it's but soon enough we'll get back. But COVID's done a number over there, and there's not a lot going on, which is pretty unfortunate. So
yeah, man. And you need to just do what you can while you can, right? Like take advantage of being where you are, which is what you're doing. That's a good thing. And then eventually you can get back to Thailand. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yep. And can you talk about Thailand? I mean, a lot of people haven't really been to Thailand maybe, or don't really know what it's about. Can you talk about what your feelings are for Thailand, what it's like there, what it's like to train, what it's like as a place, the culture, etc.?
Thailand's a beautiful country. It's a wonderful place, man. I've been there just over 4.5 years, and I don't regret my decision a day. I tell people I haven't worked a day since 2017 when I left the car lot, and I'm serious.
Yep.
It's a place where you can come. You don't have to pack a sweatshirt. It's a place where you can come and you can literally pack jerseys and slides and shorts, your boxing gloves, your wrestling shoes, training gear, and that's really all you need. It's a place where you can come and just train your ass off and then go to the beach or go get a massage for cheap and then go recover and do it all again the next day. You have everything you need. You have, of course, Muay Thai, and then now you're starting to be able to get, if you come to our new spot, you'll get, you got wrestling, you got MMA, jiu-jitsu, you can do boxing, kickboxing. Man, they got, there's CrossFit, there's like workout classes. It's really, the sky's the limit with stuff like that. It's I wouldn't say it's very cheap, because I think people get carried away when they say, oh, it's so cheap over there. It can be cheap, but if you let it get away from you, it can be expensive. If you're out every, Saturday night on the piss with the boys down Bangla Road, you're going to run through some baht, that's for sure. But if you can keep it together, your money can go a long ways in Thailand. And the culture and the people, man, are great. They don't need much. They're very happy people. For the most part, they're always smiling. They're respectful. As long as you're respectful, they don't bother you. They're friendly people. The weather, I love the weather. The weather's phenomenal, except during rainy season. But when it's high season, it's 95 degrees. It's sunny for 5 months straight. I mean, there's not a better place in the world with better weather than that, So I've really enjoyed my time there. And I got nothing but good things to say about Thailand. I think they're at a standstill right now with a lot going on with the prime minister and stuff like that. They got protests in Bangkok, but that's something I stay out of. I'm a foreigner, so I don't want to get caught up in that. I just kind of watch it from afar, but I'm fortunate to be able to earn a living there and live in such a beautiful place. 10 minutes away, 10-minute scooter ride away from 4 different beaches, and I do wake up every day, and I do feel pretty fortunate that I do have the opportunity to live there.
That's awesome, man. Where you're at, is it a bit of a party area as well? Like, do you get some hectic sort of times there as well and crazy things happening?
You can. You definitely can. Bangkok is an hour flight. Very congested, populated city. You can have a couple good nights there. 2 nights in Bangkok is usually my max. Anything after that, I'm ready to get the hell out. Phuket is more of like a touristy area. It's probably the most expensive parts of Thailand because it is so touristy and it caters to the foreigners. And if you go about 45 minutes down to Bangla Road, Patong, now it's a bit different. But pre-COVID, man, that place used to go off. You could definitely get up with some mischief there. So, but like I said, it's as long there's some stuff you can have some fun for sure, and then a lot of people just go there for training, man. You know, you run into people that come from England or Australia or whatever, and they're talking about, oh, I've been on the piss too much, so I want to go hang out. Just want to train for 2 months straight. And then they get locked in. They train 2 months. They end up staying another 4 months. They take 3 fights down Bangla Road, Muay Thai. And, you know, sometimes 3 months turns into 12 years. You know, I met some people that went over on a holiday and just never left.
Amazing.
So,
yeah. And your brother, I was watching interviews with you and your brother. Is your brother married to a Thai or not?
Yes, sir. My sister-in-law, Nan, she's a Thai. And then he has a daughter. My niece is half Thai, half American.
Awesome. Any cultural sort of clashes between them or not? Because it must be difficult having America Thai together. All good.
We don't get along, but I'm just kidding, man. We get along fine. There's really no cultural, especially when you have a kid.
Yeah.
You know, when they have a kid, it's everything's about the baby. Her parents and her family are great. My parents and my family are great. They get along fine. She learns a bit of English. She learns a bit of Thai. She speaks better Thai than I do, you know, so, and she's not even 3 yet. So kudos to her, but no, they get along fine. The cultural stuff that sometimes can be a bit different, but you just got to go with it, you know?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They don't really celebrate Christmas, but of course my parents go ape shit over Christmas. So, you know, that's the difference. I'm a bit excited, you know, they're coming home. My brother's staying, but Nan and my niece Nana are coming home to the States for about 4 or 5 weeks to stay with my parents and stuff and visit. And I'm going to go home for about a week after Gian and them fight. I'm going to go home for about a week and just see him, because I haven't seen them in months. I'm going to go home and see him and just be able to, you know, kind of kick back and be able to be with my niece in North Carolina so she can see, you know, my friends, and she can meet, you know, my neighbors and stuff like that, which is, I know my mom's all up in arms about it. So that'll be an exciting time just to see. She'll have a cultural shock, obviously, coming from Thailand to America.
Yeah, it'd be exciting, right? Like you guys going to Thailand is an exciting thing. So it's kind of the same for them, right? Going over to the States, they get to see things they haven't seen before, experience new things, big cities,
Yes,
etc. Yeah. Hey, man, going back to what you were saying before about coaching, that you're a bit younger than some of the other coaches. And I heard you mention about you liking to get in the trenches and grind with people, and that's how you earn your stripes and earn trust, etc. Can you talk about your style a little bit, about your style of training and coaching?
You know, my style of coaching or training is just, as the boys say back home, you just get stuck. I just get stuck into it. You know,
Yep.
I'm a wrestling coach. You know, I'm not, they do call me Frankie Engels and stuff like that. Frankie Roach when I'm on the pads, but
Frankie Roach, I heard you say that.
Yeah, that's not that. They always take the piss out of me, which is good, but I focus the majority on wrestling. I think sometimes coaches nowadays, like, they want to do this, and this. But I went to school. I grew up wrestling my whole life. I was fortunate enough to coach at a year at Appalachian State. I wrestled at Bloomsburg. That's my bread and butter. That's what I know the best. So that's what I'm going to focus on. Not saying that that I don't do jiu-jitsu classes, or I hit pads, or, you know, or I do boxing and I spar with the boys, but I'm going to focus on, you know, what I'm good at. And that's what I try to do. You know, I just try to make sure my skill set and my knowledge of wrestling for MMA is always sharp at all times, you know, whether it's on our feet offensively, on our feet defensively, if it's getting off bottom, or if it's holding somebody down, or if it's chain wrestling and putting, you know, 2 shots together, however we go about things. That's where I try to be. I try to stay ahead of the game. And, you know, the getting in the trenches part, to me, that's fun. That's the joy I get out of it. You know, I don't want to be, maybe when my body breaks down, I'll be the guy sitting on the sidelines and saying, look, this is what you need to do. This is what you need to do, this position. But I learn better. I'm such an active person anyway. I learn better, and I teach better hands-on. If, like, okay, here's what we're going to do today, I'm going to show it. And then for the most part, I'm going to walk around, and then I'm going to, like, do it again, and then have them do it on me. And then I'm going to say, all right, here's what we're going wrong. Here's what you got to fix and adjust, right? Offensively or defensively, from that point of view. And that's what I enjoy. That's that's what I get out of it the most. I've always loved being able to wrestle these high level athletes that are at the top caliber in their weight classes and the biggest promotion on the biggest stage in the world. Being able to wrestle with Israel Adesanya, Brad Riddell, Dan Hooker, being able to wrestle with Falk and Peter and Rafa, being able to, help Tyson and the big fellas, the Usos, being able to do stuff like that. Like, I genuinely enjoy, being able to get in there and still mix it up with them. And it keeps me young. It keeps me sharp. It keeps me being able to understand their side of it as well, because when you spar them, you're in their world now. Like, these guys are at the pinnacle of their weight classes for a reason. And, sometimes you got to step into their world and feel it just so you can get a better understanding of it, So, yeah, that's what I really do enjoy, man. Sometimes, if everybody knows, sometimes you get shit, like you get like a staph infection, or you get, something else, and you're out 3-4 days, man, I'll lose my mind. I do. I lose the plot for a bit because because I'm just, for years, every day, all I've done is just the wrestling part and the training part of it and stuff like that. So when you take that away from you, it really shakes me up a bit, because I'm always so hands-on with everything I do, and that itch to get back in there. And like I said, to me, that's the highlight of my job. That's the highlight of what I'm able to do, is still being able to mix it up. And let's be honest, when you start working with somebody new and you start working with these guys and you come in, they look at you and they're like, who the fuck's this dude? And why does he think that he can just come in and start like doing this and that? So you kind of gotta, like you said, earn your stripes. I mean, you gotta let the boys know, all right, look, I'll get in there with you. Like, I don't care. It is what it is. Like, you can KO me, hit me with a liver shot, or do whatever it is, but, obviously I'm willing to do that just to let you guys know that, like, I'm in this to let y'all know what I'm about. And that's being able to help them. And it does go a long way. You see some of these guys and they do, when they do realize, the time and effort I put in and how I go about things, they start to respect it and stuff like that. And then that's how you build these relationships. That's how you're able to do, to travel the world with some of the best teams in the world. You know what I mean? And I've said this many times, but I never thought, and even my parents will tell you, they never thought when I was, 15, I'd be doing this for a living and being able to make an earning and travel the world from wrestling. But
yeah, it's amazing, really. Like, sometimes I equate it. Sorry, man. Sometimes I equate it to like doing a degree, right? Like, people learn a degree and whatever, and they go off and do that. It's like you guys start when you're young and you're learning this wrestling it's almost like a trade. Like, you learn this amazing skill, and then it can become a job, right? It's amazing like that.
Yeah, it's like a stocky. You know what I mean? You start young, and again, we're fortunate to learn. Growing up in America, you can do baseball, football, basketball, soccer, lacrosse, wrestling. You can do all kinds of sports, right? In New Zealand, you can play footy or rugby, however, and then they have like kickboxing and Muay Thai, stuff like that, boxing, stuff like that. But, they come from a striking background. Predominantly America, we have a wrestling background. So I started at a young age. I got into it. And like I said, like I told you, I'm able to now do this for a living. So it's just years and years of doing it repetitively and trying to add stuff to your arsenal. Okay, maybe this doesn't work. Well, okay, this does work. Let's add this. And yeah, I'm still young in this game, so I'm
getting in there, man. That's good.
Yeah, I enjoy it while I can.
And man, you say about like teaching wrestling for MMA. Does that mean do you teach pure wrestling and concentrate on positions that translate well to MMA, or do you integrate like trying to get into position to strike, trying to get into position for submissions? How does it work?
It really just depends on what position you want to focus on in that given day or that week. Sometimes I'll take it, all right, this week I'm going to focus on defense. This week I'll focus on offense. This week I'll focus on getting out bottom, maybe riding legs, maybe keeping somebody down. But, I've always thought that if you want to get good at wrestling, you just got to wrestle. So a lot of times when you just wrestle, you pick up feels, you pick up instincts, you pick up positional work that you've probably felt before, but you just didn't know what it was, right? And then now you're feeling it again, and then now somebody's going to break it down and simplify it for you, and you're going to realize, oh, all right, I was doing it this way, maybe I should do it this way, or I was doing it right, maybe I should just adjust it a bit, you know. So MMA for wrestling is different than basic wrestling. However, I feel that if you just do more wrestling, it's going to benefit you for your MMA, because then it's going to be able to put together, you know, you can chain wrestle, you can create longer scrambles, you know, it's going to build your gas tank and your cardio up, which is huge. And then you see the best guys in the world are able to put all that together. You know what I mean? So, like I said, depends on what it is you want to focus on the most, but you want to get better at takedowns, you got to do more offense, head inside, head outside, double legs. If you want to get better at defense, you got to get better at your head outside, head inside, double leg defense. They go hand in hand. If you want to get off bottom, you got to be able to keep legs out, knee slide, come up. You know, if you want to keep somebody down, you can ride somebody with your hands locked, unlocked, putting a leg in, you know, taking a seatbelt. You just got to be able to do these positions. And I've just found that the best guys I work with, not the best guys I work with, the guys that pick up the most and then want to move the fastest, they're always like, some of them think there's like a tool, or they think there's like a secret sauce, as you may will, but it's not. Like Volk got good at wrestling because he just wrestled all the time. Brad got great at wrestling because Brad wrestled all the time. Brad would show up with Tiger for 2 weeks, and 6 days out of the week, it would be him and I and somebody else at 8:30 in the morning, and we would just be, it'd be an hour of just like a 3-man group of just wrestling. And
yep.
that's, you know, that's what it is. That's what it takes. If you want to get better at it, you just have to do more of it, you know? Yeah. So, you know, that's what I tell people.
And you talked just then, you mentioned it, I've seen you mention it quite a lot about just getting a feeling for it, right? So your idea is like, guys, let's say a Tai Tuivasa that's a striker comes in, wants to learn. They wrestle, they learn the base skills, they keep wrestling, and they'll get a general feel for the positions, etc. And that's the best way to improve, right?
Yeah, of course. Get a general feel. Take a guy like Tai Tuivasa, incredible athlete. He's a heavyweight, played professional footy. He's somebody who knew how to tackle. He knew he was quick on his feet. He's nimble. He's a striker. He's probably not going to really take anybody down, but so you just make his defense sharp. And with making his defense sharp also comes, now he knows a bit of offense because he can field the position defensively. So he knows where he needs to be offensively. And, you know, that's just, and then if you do get taken down, just simple get-ups, just getting back to our feet to where we're good and, you know, keeping it to where you're in the favor, where you want to be. So, yeah, that's, people sometimes put too much into it, too much thought, but it's just being really good at the simple things, you know?
Yeah. Like you said, no secret sauce. The secret sauce is just working hard and consistency, right? Working, you know?
Consistency is everything, man. You know, if you want to get better at wrestling and you wrestle 1 day a week, you're probably not going to get better at wrestling, you know, even though I know it's hard and people don't want to do it, but, you know, some of these guys will do one wrestling class a week, but they want to do like 3 S&Cs. I mean, that don't work. You know what I mean? You know, the best guys, they do all their trades, you know, several times a week. And, they just build from it.
Yeah, man. And you just talk about Tai Tuivasa. Just when I just think of him, it brings a smile to my face, man. He's such a funny dude, right? Like I've been watching, he pops up live every now and again and put on. It's so funny, man. He should have like a couple million more followers because it's just hilarious to listen to, you know?
Man, nothing but good things to say about the big fella Tuivasa. You know, he was the first guy that I really worked with. He's actually the first guy who really gave me a chance to like prove myself. You know, he was at Tiger for Mark's camp before he made his debut. Mark got pulled off that card because we were going to do it on the Gold Coast. And he said, hey, look, would you come to Sydney with me and stay, you know, 5 weeks, 6 weeks before my and help me with the wrestling before I make my debut. And I said, yeah, bro, of course. So I stayed in Penrith with his family on his couch for 5-6 weeks, and just trained with him and stuff like that. And, fast forward now, he's on a 3-fight win streak. He's 6-3 in the UFC. He's got a big fight coming up ahead of him, man. But he's just, he's really evolved and coming to his own fighter. Stand-up's was never that it wasn't good. It's good, but now it's even better. He's athletically, he can wrestle and stuff like that. So just watching him, keep progressing is awesome. And he's a character, man. Like you say, when you see him go live, I genuinely do enjoy watching him go live on his Instagram, because he's usually either roasting somebody or somebody's trying to roast him. And for the most part, it doesn't work out for him. So then he just roasts them even more. You know what I mean? And the stuff he can do. And then, of course, he loves a good time, man. So when, his last fight, he got the knockout in under a minute, and then he cracked it and did his shoe. That's his signature, man. And it was awesome to see. But he's somebody in that division, that heavyweight division, that not only is going to be a force, who already is a force to reckon with, but he's got the personality to go with it, man. I've never met somebody who was just like, not free spirited, but like who just doesn't matter where he goes, man. He's the same. Like, what you see is what you get. You usually hear him before you see him. He's always in a good mood, and he brings it. When he fights, like he said it, after his fight, he goes, you said you wanted to stand on your feet with bang. I'm not the bloke you want to bang with. Pick somebody else. And he meant that. And it's just good to see. It's good for that division, because, man, he can really light the crowd up. That's for sure. Whether it's his highlights or whether it's his intro songs, you always got something with him.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to take himself too seriously too, which is good. Not too much ego. He seems like a man for the people, man. It's good.
Yeah, he is. He doesn't. He's definitely the people's champ for sure.
That's it. And talking about athletes, man, what are your feelings on the attributes of the champions that you've worked with and people that you've mentioned before, Peter Yan, Volkanovski, Adesanya, etc.? What are the attributes of these guys that would stand out to you, like, to make them a champion? Like, how did they get there? What are the key things?
First and foremost, they got a really good team behind them. They all have a phenomenal team, phenomenal support, phenomenal backing, but those dudes just work. Every day they work and they grind. They probably get more shit than anybody else because of the position and the level they're at. And they continue to show up every day and just bring it, day in and day out. Like I said, whether it's Peter, whether it's Alex, whether it's Izzy, those dudes show up. They know what they have to do. They're never late. They get after it. They ask questions. They're not if they're not the best in the room, then they're going to go with who's the best in the room. They're not looking for easy rounds. They're looking for hard rounds. And I think that's what it takes at the highest level. I think once you get to a certain level, it's how can you separate yourselves from people, and they find ways to separate themselves from people, whether it's mentally or physically, or, they don't shy away from where they're not good. If they're not good in a certain position or not as good as they think they should be, then they're going to spend some time there, and they're going to keep adjusting, and, they're going to go with the best guys in the room on a daily basis. And I think that's what, helps you get you to the top, but also keeps you there. You know what I mean? If you're the best guy in the room, they say, that's not good. So they're always looking for ways to improve. They're always looking for ways to get better.
Yep. And apart from those things, for people that are starting out, like that have interest in MMA, etc., what are your recommendations for people, like if they're just kicking off, like how to start, or early level?
I mean, if you want to start, it's never too late to start. Volk was 22 when he started. It's just, if it's something you really want to do, it's not an easy sport. Don't be in such a rush to take a fight right away. Actually learn it. Learn boxing, learn kickboxing, do the wrestling, do the jiu-jitsu. It's MMA. It's not just boxing. It's not just kickboxing. It's all that. So there's a lot of the arts that go into it and a lot of principles, and you just got to be able to take your time, and you got to be able to do each one, and then just build from there. Have fun with it, really. You know what I mean? As long as you're having fun and stuff, you can do big things. If you take it too serious at the beginning, you might not enjoy yourself right away, and then it might kind of steer you away from the sport. But if you actually kind of go into it open-minded and free-spirited, and just say, man, I'm going to give this a go. Let's see how I enjoy it. You probably start to really enjoy it, and then you'll take it a bit more serious. And then when you take it a bit more serious, then you'll find yourself, you know, really kind of making strides in it. You know what I mean? Like, you'll find, instead of going out or doing something, you'll probably be like, oh man, I'm just going to stay in tonight. We got sparring tomorrow or something. I'm not going to go do this. Maybe I'll just go to that wrestling class instead, you know? That's how people really start, you know. They, you know, now they have those programs with the Warriors, which I think are phenomenal. You know, I've done a couple in New Zealand. City Kickboxing got the biggest wimps the Warriors I've ever seen in my life, man. They had like 3 tryouts because they had like 180 people come out. That is insane, man. But that just shows that, you know, they have a buzz, or especially that side of the world, there's a buzz going. And it's such a fast moving sport, and it's becoming so addictive for people to start doing, that these people are really going for 20 weeks, 5 days in the morning of an hour to an hour and a half of getting in shape, putting themselves in positions where they're uncomfortable, putting themselves in environments where they're uncomfortable, regardless of age, race, creed, height, weight, work ethic. And they're just giving it a go. They're saying, all right, I want to sign up. I got 20 weeks to do this. And then at the end, I'm going to have a fight. Man, I think it's brilliant. I've seen it change people's lives. And then they build friendships off of it, and keeps them coming to the gym. And then their friends get into it. And then their friends get into it. And then, you know, I think it's a great idea. I think, you know, everybody in their life should do some sort of martial art, boxing, kickboxing, Muay Thai, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, something to keep you not only active, but, you know, you'll never know when you need it. Not saying you got to, you know, do 12 boxing privates in a month and go out and like start picking fights. But, you know, if somebody grabs you or something, at least you can like defend yourself, or somebody tries to mug you, or, you know, do something to be able to kind of defend yourself, or somebody you're with, a loved one. So it's good, man. Martial arts changes people's lives, and it definitely benefits health and mental health, especially in a time like we're in right now. You know, people need all the health and the mental health they can get. So what better way than to get involved and to get into a gym and get stuck into it right away.
True. And another thing, which obviously it helps with, is, you know, you got your camera there, Frank. Obviously, some people in the world suffer from mental things, etc., illnesses, and even loneliness, etc. You build that brotherhood, and you had that release in that place you can go and train. It sort of takes away a lot of the other problems in people's lives as well, right?
Yes, it does. You know, when you go to a gym and you're training with people who have kind of like-minded goals and stuff, and they're probably fighting the same demons and same battles as you, you just may not know it, but yeah, man, you're able to get in there and mix it up, and it just relieves tension, and relieves stress, relieves anxiety. It keeps, you know, kind of gives you hope. It gives you the kind of a glimmer, you know what I mean? And it's able to keep your mind off of things, and you can kind of focus on your health, whether it's mental or your physical health. And you just need it, man. Like, everybody needs it, you know, like the whole COVID thing, when everything was going on, like I was putting mats down at my house, wrestling in my house. I had the Thai kids like from the neighborhood coming over with their grandmas, like just watching, like, what are these white people doing? But I needed it. You know, I had to have it. They closed the gym, and I was like, this ain't good. I was like, if they're closing the gym, first thing I said was, you know, in the group chat, I was, all right, boys, well, where are we picking up? We going out Alex's house, and we're going to do the mats at my house. Well, everybody got mats and put it at their house. So one day we go here, one day we go there, one day we go there. And that's, you know, that's what we did. But you need that. You got to keep that to stay sane, especially, I mean, I don't know about anybody else, but for me, I needed to stay sane. And I think a lot of people are like that. It doesn't have to be even martial arts, but lifting weights, running, swimming, cycling, whatever it is, some sort of physical activity that's going to keep your mind off of shit and just basically take you away from a bit.
Yeah, I kind of agree, man. Like when these lockdowns, etc., happened, I think the worst thing you can do is just sit on the couch and eat shit and drink and stuff. Like, I think it's
Mate,
a time
I don't know how
you
you Aussies, you guys have it bad. I really feel for the Australian citizens, man, and the people for what they put y'all through with everything going on, man. It's just like lockdown. Okay, now it's extended. Now we're going to extend the extension, and it's just like, man, when's enough? Like, people can say, oh, the COVID. Like, listen, I know people who are affected by it. I've had it myself. I got the vaccine. I'll tell you, guess what? I don't give a fuck. Give me the vaccine, right? I'll take it. I put worse shit in my body, but I'm going to need it in order to travel and stuff like that. And look, and if you don't get the vaccine, great. That doesn't matter. If you get it, awesome. Congratulations. But at what point do you got to realize, like, you're also fucking with other people's mental or physical part, and that's important, man. A lot of these people need these gyms. A lot of these people need these social interactions. A lot of people are using these gyms and that as a platform to get away from other stuff that's going on, whether it's in their house, whether it's at their, away from their job and stuff like that. They need it. And I think that when you keep doing that and keep shutting stuff down, you're just digging yourself a deeper hole and a deeper hole and a deeper hole. And I've had this conversation, like, they're like, oh, America, you guys just running rampant, use your fuck. Well, guess what? What happens when Australia and all that does open and shit really does kick off, right? And then the cases do start coming. Well, then what? You're going to go back into it all over again? You're just going to keep repeating the cycle? Like, at least in America, like, they had their stint and then everybody was like, just came to a point where they were just like, all right, here's what we're doing. You want to stay home, stay home. If not, we're back on the horse, right? Get back to it. And
it comes to a point where life has to go on, right? You can't have that solution doesn't seem sustainable that you just lock things down. So I think every country has to kind of get used to it in a way and somehow learn to cope with it, right? And just roll, because you can't just stop everything. Can't stop life for this. Yeah.
What's Scott Morrison saying?
Scott Morrison, man.
That's your boy, isn't it?
Yeah, true, man. I just see parodies on him, man. But I'm like I said, I'm out of the country, man. I'm living in China for 14 years. I'm kind of disassociated with it. We still have lockdowns and stuff where I am, but it's not the same level as happening in Sydney. And yeah, I got a lot of mates there that let me know what's happening back there. And yeah, it's not good, right? Especially for the small business owners, gym owners, etc. Really, really hurting them.
Yeah, man, it's bad. It's a bad situation, and I've had so many vaccine debates with people. Like, I could care less, man. If you want to take it, great. If you don't, great. But at what point are you going to let people just get back to their shit and stuff like that? Like, you got to let people move on, make a living, get back to training, get back to just normal life. Because if this is how it's going to be, then fuck, man, I don't want no part of that. Thailand was doing great there for a while. I do think they were reporting a lot less cases than what they had. But man, at one point we only had 68 deaths, like well into the year. Like, it was great. And then some of the cops were taking bribes at the border from the Burmese people coming over to work. And then they just like kicked off. And ever since then, it's been several months, man. Now it's like 160 something deaths a day. And like, it's just taking complete 180 from where it was going. And it's just like, Thailand's a country based off of tourism. Like, you got to have it. Tourism is 80% of the country's income. You got to have it. So yeah, I'm just waiting for shit to get back. You know what I mean? Let it open. Let the boys have a good push. Bring back Mag Mondays. Let's get into it. Let's have a good time. And that's what I'm hoping for.
That's it, man. All right, man. I don't want to keep you too much longer, but I do want to ask you a couple of questions, a couple of your ideas on a couple of fights coming up. I kind of stayed away from your guys a little bit because I don't want you to give away any of their weaknesses or anything. But Diaz, Lawler, man, Nick Diaz, Robbie Lawler. What are your thoughts on that one? The old school boys fighting again.
Don't know really. I think everybody loves the Diaz brothers. I think Robbie Lawler is like. I think I would take Robbie Lawler on that one, just off the simple fact that I think, man, he's one of the hardest people I've ever seen in this game. You know, watching him from a young age, you know, him in that Rory fight, people talk about it still. It was what a war. You know, I would like to see him get the W over the Diaz brother, but you know, I do love the way the Diaz brothers fight. They definitely bring the noise, and they're not scared of a proper scrap.
That's true, man. I worry about Diaz after seeing. I saw one video, which I haven't been able to find again, where he was doing some sort of shadow boxing with kicking, and they just look so bad. I'm hoping that he doesn't look as bad as he looked then by now, but yeah, well, let's see. Gaethje, Chandler, a couple of your wrestling boys going at it. What do you think? Gaethje, why?
Well, one, he beat my boy Dan Hooker, but Gaethje because I just think he's a bit more durable, but I also think his IQ is better. I think his fight IQ is better. I think it's going to be a great fight, but I think his ring time and the amount of time he's spent inside the cage and some of the fights he's had will prevail in this one.
And Trevor Whitman certainly helps him with his game plans too, right? Yeah.
Trevor Whitman's a great coach. Chandler's got a great coach. You know, Henry Hoof's phenomenal. Been in this game a long time. So two well-coached guys, but you know, I think I'll stick with Gaethje on that one.
God damn, I was devastated by that loss of Hooker as well, man. I love watching Dan fight, and that was very disappointing. It was all looking good up until that point. Just got caught, right?
Broke my heart.
Exactly. Last one, Costa Vittori. What are your thoughts on that one?
Oh, fuck, who cares?
Just a fun fight, man.
It is.
It's like meeting of the minds in there, bro. Two meeting of the minds, you know?
It's going to be interesting about this one because Paul Costa is going to be coming back, and he's got big shoes to fill from like a lot of the stuff he said. Vittori, hopefully he's changed it up a bit. I don't know, man. Maybe Paulo Costa's. Let's see if Vittori can out wrestle Paul Costa. You know, let's see if he can take him down like he has Holland, like he has. What's the guy that he fought before that? That he fought from Sweden, not from Sweden, but from Denmark.
The ground fighter, right?
Yep. Let's see if he can make the adjustments there. But that's that's a fight that I don't know. I guess you'd have to ask me on the morning of. But if I was to lean into it, I'd probably say depends on if Paul Costa's on the ones or not.
Yeah. Costa in his interview said he's going to take out Vittori in the first round and make a statement. So that's kind of interesting, right? To come out and say that.
That'll be interesting. You know, obviously, physically, they're both, you know, they both look like Hulk. They're both chiseled pretty well, but sometimes that body type doesn't always translate over into a fight. So we will see. But I would probably on that, I'll go Vittori.
Cool. All right, bro. Thanks for your time on that, man. And I appreciate that you giving me a chance to have a talk with you. And there's always things we can learn from experienced people like you that have worked with the big names, that have wrestled your whole life. So I very much appreciate the time.
No worries. Thank you for having me on, brother.